Well, shout out Patriot J, Benny Johnson, Big Bongino, Alex Jones. Free my dogs and lock up the radical left's gone crazy. I don't bail, I don't bail, I won't see inside a cell. Shout out Thugger, free my slime, slat, YSL. They tryna lock me up, but I'm plugged in ATL. Got homies doing life in jail, they living in hell. These DAs acting silly, my mugshot is worth a billy. So some merchant made a milli, shot McMillie out in Philly. Shot the baby, shot the Sosa, Benny Butcher. Them my rollers called me racist, but these rappers riding with me, them my soldiers. Mega, 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 I am not who they are after. I'm just in the way they want to get to you, but I won't let them cold-hearted. No, I'm artist, getting back to where I started. I don't need to do the race, I'ma beat them RICO charges. And if I go to prison, you can't do me like the Clintons. I'll be laid up, eating steak with Secret Service, chilling, screaming, orange man bad. The whole world mad, thug life. Shout out all of my MAGA base chads. Coming for the deep state, I will stop the new world order. But before that, I'll finish walls at the border. YSL, shout out Thugger. Finny got nothing on us.
Yeah, so that's Trump's new release, first day out. Oh, what's up, y'all? Found that on my timeline this morning. I figured I'd share it with you. It's probably my favorite mugshot that I've seen over the past day since Trump ended up getting arrested up there in Fulton County and getting his mugshot taken. This is my favorite, the whole rap album. I thought that was great, and I had to share it with y'all. But, yo, welcome. My name is Drew Smith. This is We Talk Freely. It's Friday, and it's going to be kind of a silly one today, I guess. Lots of little stories to talk about. Nothing too major that's been going down. I mean, as you've seen all day, probably the past couple days, that's all everybody's been talking about in the news is Trump's getting his mugshot taken. Trump's getting his mugshot taken. Okay, so we got it. And I think in reality, it's just not working out as well as Democrats were hoping it was going to work out. They were really hoping that this would be the moment, that takedown of Trump. But I'll tell you, on the conservative side of things, everybody's been having a blast with it. Donald Trump Jr., he's got a website up from what I see, or up on his page. He has a merch line going on. So if you're looking for some t-shirts, some mugs, stuff like that, even posters, he's got it for you. I mean, they're having a blast with this, and I'm sure they're making a good bit of money on it. If you want a piece of history there, I'd definitely go over to his website. A little quick shout out for me to him. I think it's great. These hoodies look great. I'm thinking about getting one myself. But with all that being said, there's a wild amount of hypocrisy in all of this too, because Fani Willis is bringing these RICO charges and stuff like that against Donald Trump for questioning an election. And if you actually dig down deep enough, and I appreciate Tim Pool for posting this up on X, Twitter, looks like Fani Willis has done a little bit of her own election questioning. Hold on a second. Let me duplicate my tab. I always forget to do that. I gotta remember. So you see here, let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys to see. There we go. Says Georgia could determine who is our next president. A team of lawyers need to watch them count every single vote. They can start in Fulton, where we are having water leaks. What ballots are they throwing out? Georgia, let's give an honest accounting. No stunts. So, I mean, here she is doing the same thing, November 4th, 2020, right there on Twitter. And it's like, so how is it legitimate for her to bring these kind of charges against Trump when she herself is in the public eye doing the same thing and questioning the results of these elections? I think this is wild. It's probably one of the craziest things that we've ever seen, or at least that I've ever seen in my lifetime, in politics. You know, we've seen all kinds of smears, we've seen all kinds of personal attacks, we've seen some crazy stuff in the past. But this, we have a mugshot of the leader of the Republican primary right now, and it's not leader by a little bit, by a long shot. And a lot of people are upset about it, but I'm so glad to see, you know, like in that little rap video in the beginning of this video, I'm glad to see people at least making light of it. Again, I think Fani Willis, by accident here, is really, really helping the Trump campaign to really drive this thing home, to make sure that Trump gets elected. Now the question is if she gets this to court, and because it's at a state level and the state of Georgia here does press charges against Trump, how does this work out? Because can he run his presidency from a jail cell? Or if he's like put on house arrest, can he run it from his home? The logistics of this are very unclear, and I'm very curious about how this is going to work out. If you guys have any ideas of what to expect on this, you know, I'm all ears about this. So, you know, just, you know, let me know in the chat what you guys think is going to happen from it. This is weird. Let's see here. Next thing I wanted to, you know, staying on that note, Representative Jim Jordan has actually been going in on all of this. And I'm going to throw up a video that he also posted up there on Twitter. And he's really fired up, and I give him a lot of props for doing what he's doing. But let's listen into what he's got to say.
3 questions, Sean. Did you coordinate with the Biden administration, the same administration who's indicted their general election opponent in D.C. and Miami already? Did you coordinate with them? Did you work with Jack Smith? Look at the same witnesses. Any coordination there? And did you use federal funds as part of this investigation? We asked these same questions of Alvin Bragg a few months ago, and he, in fact, did use American tax dollars to go after President Trump in Manhattan. And oh, by the way, Alvin Bragg sued us when we subpoenaed one of those prosecutors up there in Manhattan. He sued us. We went to court, and the court ruled for us. So we're going to be just as aggressive here. We're going to do it within the Constitution, but we are going to do our duty to get the answers the American people deserve for this ridiculous indictment that's taken place in Georgia.
So with that being said, I'm wondering if this is all going to end up like Alvin Bragg's case. You know, is this all going to end up being a giant nothing burger? Is Fani Willis going to end up being able to pull all this off? You know, all over my timeline, I've seen a lot of speculation that none of this is going to fly in the first place. And I really feel like that's what it's going to be. You know, before any of this stuff happened, I remember, you know, CNN and a lot of other people saying that they really wanted Trump's mugshot. And I really think that this is honestly an elaborate scheme just to get those kind of optics for the election. They can't beat Trump. You know, just on a normal head-to-head, I just really don't believe that you can beat Trump. You know, if you T-chart the whole thing and you look at like the economy, the border, world peace, environment, all of that stuff, the Biden administration has just failed over and over and over and over again in every aspect of what they've done. So it's just like, how do you legitimately beat Trump? Well, he can't. And so what they're doing is they're weaponizing the DOJ to the best of their ability and trying to find that one little sliver to get him arrested. You know, it's like this, or to get him out of the way, excuse me, not just to get him arrested. Because I think, honestly, if Biden wins the election, they won't even care about the arrest because they know that Trump's not going to try to rerun in 2028. They just want to stop him from being able to win the election this time. So I think we've seen something similar with this, like back in the day with Al Capone, I think it was, where they got him on a minor tax evasion or something of that sort, and they just completely squashed him on the small charges instead of getting him on all the things that they knew he was guilty of. But it's a little different here because, like the guy or not, Trump's really not guilty of any kind of crimes. Like, he hasn't really committed any, like, dastardly crimes or anything of the sort. We've seen over the past, like, what, 6, 7, 8 years, we've seen random charge after random charge come from the people or come from officials, but none of it has actually been legitimate. And so here we are, and now they're desperately going after him for calling Georgia and asking Kemp and others to find where the bogus votes were and make sure that they're not counted. I don't think that that's illegal, personally, me. But I'm not a lawyer. But I just don't see it. You know, if I was on a jury, I'd have to say no. Even in the days back when I was really blue through and through, even back then I would look at this and be like, this is a crap charge. You know, this is stupid. There's people out there that are committing murders, robberies, and all of this other nonsense. I mean, heck, look at Sam Bankman-Fried. That guy cost people billions of dollars, and barely anything is happening to that guy. You know, Hunter Biden actually has tax charges and stuff that are getting dropped. There's plenty of other crimes out there. What about the Clintons and literally using BleachBit on servers and smashing cell phones to destroy evidence? Wouldn't you think that those charges there would be heavier than what's going on with Trump? Probably are. Again, not a lawyer, but the reason they're not going after those people as aggressively, and especially the mainstream media is not going after them aggressively, is because they like those people, they just don't like Trump. And so what this really is just the maximum extent of the Never Trump movement that you could possibly hope to push forward. Realistically, if we had a good leader in office, he would look at, Joe Biden would look at this and just say, this is crap, it needs to come to a stop. He would call on his people and ask for a fair fight. You know, if Joe Biden is confident in everything that he's done thus far in his presidency, even with a whole almost year he's taken off for vacations, if Joe Biden was so confident in the moves that he's made, then he would just go toe-to-toe with him on the debate stage and shut him up. But he can't do that. I can't honestly think of one good, clear win that Joe Biden has had that has actually benefited the American people. I mean, look at your grocery bill. Look at the cost of products at the store. Look at the cost of cars. Has the environment gotten any better? Like the border situation. You got New York and a few other places. They're constantly complaining and creating emergency situations because they're being flooded with people that they aren't able to take care of. Meanwhile, our veterans and U.S. citizens are living in the streets, struggling to survive, struggling to find food. Like I said in previous episodes before, even we've had to tighten our belts around here. Can't go just buy a bunch of random stuff like we used to. Now we're actually looking for all the buy one, get one frees and all the discounts and all the coupons. Like, man, it's getting rough. And, I complained about it during the Obama administration, but good job, Joe. You made it worse. It's crazy. So, I appreciate Jim Jordan doing what he's doing. He's out there putting pressure on the system, putting some heat on the system, and that's, I think, what we need to see. We need to see all of this stuff come to an end, and we need to, I don't know, maybe regulate? I don't like making new laws all the time, but something's got to be done to prevent this whole debacle from happening again. Whether I like a president or not, unless they've done something stone cold serious and it can be proven without a shadow of a doubt, I don't want to see another president go through this nonsense. Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter. I don't want to see anybody go through this ever again. All right. With that being said, there's been a lot of heat, leading up to these elections. And I wanted to bring up, here from the Gateway Pundit, Larry Elder files FEC complaint against the RNC for biased debate standards and illegal in-kind donations. Potential fines could exceed $100 million. Goodness, y'all. Now, I've been watching Larry Elder off and on, probably for the past few months especially. You know, he's been doing a lot of little talk show interviews, a lot of appearances, and I like this guy. I like him a lot, actually. I mean, he's kind of a no-nonsense, conservative kind of person. Realistically, he hasn't said anything that I don't like. I recently, I put up the video about how he went after Charlemagne the God and called him out for his hypocrisy. I don't know why I'm having a hard time speaking today. Maybe the Red Bull is starting to get to me. But I digress on that. Larry, here on the Gateway Pundit, it says, Larry Elder, the conservative radio host and political commentator, has officially filed a complaint against the Republican National Committee, the RNC, with Federal Election Commission, FEC. The complaint alleges that the RNC has unequally applied debate standards and made illegal in-kind donations. If found to be true, the total fines of these violations could exceed $100 million. Earlier this week, Elder, along with other candidates like Perry Johnson, which I'll bring up here in just a second, and Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, failed to meet the RNC's criteria for participation. Now, Larry and, let me see here, I've got the other tab. Let me pull that up real fast. Where'd it go? There it goes. And this is another one from Gateway Pundit. And Perry Johnson both have the same complaint. Now, there's specific polls that they have to meet the criteria of hitting 1% or greater to be allowed onto that debate stage, or I guess to be sponsored by the Republican National Committee. Now, I can kind of see where these guys are coming from. Neither one of them have been talked about a lot for presidential candidate. You know, you haven't been hearing these two names dropping like every day about it. So they were definitely looking to get onto that debate stage at the bare minimum standards. You know, no hate on Larry, no hate on Johnson here, but they did meet the criteria from what I'm understanding. And both of their complaints that they have is that they hit their 1% or more. And Perry Johnson's complaint says that he hit it in 4 different polls like he's supposed to. And they were still excluded. But yet we still had a bunch of people on that debate stage. So how would that have hurt adding 2 more? I don't know. Was it Fox that was pressuring them? Was that the issue? Because I've seen a lot from Fox, and I meant to pull up an article on it, but Fox was like declaring DeSantis a winner, and what it really looks like is that Fox is trying to sway the elections. It looks like they're doing their own version of election meddling in this whole thing. They want us to celebrate certain candidates and completely ignore others. And it looks like Larry Elder and Perry Johnson were exactly 2 of the people that they wanted us to ignore. Why was that? It's very confusing to me. And that's a conspiracy theory from me, I guess you could say. Because I really think Larry Elder would have brought a pretty decent viewing on there. But at the same time, if we look at the direction that Fox has gone over the past couple of years, especially since, with their Disney influence and everything, it really does seem like that conspiracy theory may be true. They only want certain people. Larry would come in there and call out the BS. I know that for a fact. Now, I can't talk about Perry Johnson, but like I said, if you go back a couple episodes ago that I put out, and you look at how Larry Elder called out Charlemagne the God, I guarantee you Fox was terrified that Larry Elder would come on there and do just like Trump did and start calling them fake news and calling them out to their face and putting them in their place. Fox doesn't want any of that. They're already hurting right now. Cable TV as a whole is hurting. And if Larry Elder comes on there and starts just bashing the hell out of them, and he rightfully should, then it's going to hurt them even more. But at the same time, a lot of people probably would have tuned in to see Larry Elder do it. So I don't know. You know, I'm not a big TV person. I'm just now kind of getting into the media. What would have been better? Because I've always heard that even negative publicity is good publicity. But best of hopes in the future here to candidate Perry Johnson and to Larry Elder. I know Larry Elder's going to do great. I'd like to see more from Perry Johnson. I mean, he's one of the few people I haven't personally heard about, and I'm going to be doing some research on him here in the future. But hope he does well. With that being said, though, you know, Fox isn't the only one that's having problems in the mainstream right now. We've also watched CNN tripping and falling all over themselves, and if you just go to their page, it's hilarious. If you go to CNN Politics, 9 times out of 10 when you go there, every highlight, you know, all over their pages, there we go. Every highlight on their pages is like Trump, 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 climate change, Trump, 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 Trump. And it's like, well, why not just rename yourself to We Don't Like Trump TV, you know, or something like that, because that's really what it's been for the past couple of years. It's been really, really frustrating to watch and to pay attention to. But here we got from Real Clear Politics, and you know, Van Jones makes a point here, and I think we're starting to see cracks in the armor. You know, of all people to call out CNN, I thought this was very eye-opening as it came across my feed here. And I appreciate Real Clear Politics for putting this video up. This is a really decent one. Let me share it with you real quick.
But before...
Oh, no.
And the other piece of it is,
Let me.
and President Biden's age came up last night, and this morning Nikki Haley said there is no way Joe Biden is going to finish out a next term. We can't have an 81-year-old president. We have to have a new generational leader. As you know, polls show that's not just a Republican position, but that Americans do have concerns about his age, and frankly, they would like choices other than not just Trump and Biden. If there is no credible effort now for the possibility of an alternative Democratic candidate, should there be, in your view?
Well, you know, that's a tricky one. I think people are concerned about Joe Biden. They really are. I mean, Democrats are, you know, they talk behind their hand. Nobody wants to go on TV and say it because we all, you know, like to be able to go to, you know, barbecues and house parties. But people are concerned, and I do think that anybody but Trump going up against someone like Biden, given some of his challenges recently, probably might have a good shot and could make that age an issue. The problem is when you put a Biden up against a Trump has so many other issues, and he's not that much younger, that it becomes a little bit of a wash, and then people kind of just go back to their respective corners.
So he makes a great point here. Very rarely do I ever agree with what Van Jones says. You know, maybe I should watch him a little bit more, give him a little bit more credit. But honestly, he's right. I don't know any Democrat right now that's completely confident in Joe Biden. Every time I try to talk to a Democrat about Joe Biden, they're like, well, Trump was so bad. And it's like the conversation instantly switches over to Trump. They don't want to talk about Biden at all, because if they start to say anything bad about Biden, they automatically assume that everyone around him is going to call them a Trump supporter. Well, let me just throw this out there for my Democrat friends. You can criticize your own candidate and not be in in favor of the opposite side. You can say, yo, Biden's dropped the ball. I wish he would have done better. So now we need to look at somebody else, you know? I don't understand why people stick to that. You know, I'm just going to love Biden over and over and over again, no matter how badly he does, because I can't be identified with the other side. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. And actually, if you talk to conservatives, you'll hear us call stuff out all the time. Like, one of my favorite things to talk about is the whole vaccine thing. You know, whether you're for vaccines or not for vaccines, the fact that Trump pushed to make sure that vaccine companies could not be held liable for their damages and stuff like that, I thought was asinine. I thought that was crazy. If you're going to be confident enough to put a medicine out there, you need to stand behind that medicine. I think the American people could honestly have waited for something to be tested a little bit better, but I understand the panic. But I will, every day somebody brings that kind of stuff up, I will call Trump out on that nonsense. I'll call Trump out for not cleaning the swamp like he said he was going to. You know, not getting rid of the people that he should have gotten rid of that ended up biting him in the ass in the end. You know, it's okay as any kind of supporter, whether you're a Hillary supporter, Obama supporter, you know, doesn't matter who. You got to be able to criticize your own people. Nobody's perfect. But Democrats are out here just pretending like their candidate is perfect, that Democrats can't do anything wrong. And that's one of the reasons I have this platform here, is because I want to give us an opportunity to sit down, Democrats, independents, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, libertarians, doesn't matter to me. I want us to all be able to sit down here and be like, yeah, that was kind of dumb. And then, like, you and me, why don't we just sit down and see if we can all together in unity come up with a better solution. You know, until you're able to do that, you know, like Van Jones, I'm so glad he's starting to create that trend in the CNN space. You know, until we can actually sit down and have those conversations, we cannot grow as a country. This is a beautiful country, no matter what you think about it, whether you think it's a racist country or anything else like that. No, this is a great place. This is a great place that gives people the opportunity to have their voices heard without actually being harmed by their government. Or at least I thought, until we see what happened with Trump. But good on you, Van Jones, for saying what you said. I hope to hear more of that kind of talk. And hopefully we can find a better Democrat candidate to run in this next election. You know, maybe give RFK a chance, man. The guy's not that bad. And I'm a conservative saying that. Oh, let's see here. Going to be a little quicker of an episode today. There's a couple more things that I wanted to talk about, but not too much more. With our government going after everybody, there's another issue I wanted to bring up, and that is what is going down with Elon Musk. So they're getting mad at him. Our government is getting mad at him and trying to sue him or trying to press charges against him. And I need to get some more details on it, and I'll bring it up in the next couple episodes as more details unfold. But they're going after Elon Musk because he isn't hiring more undocumented citizens, I guess, or non-natural citizens to the U.S., which I think is kind of weird. If we think about what Elon's been doing, he works with a lot of stuff that has to do with national security. The guy's building rockets, and that also translates into things like missiles and other military technologies too. Would it be wise to have somebody coming into our country not properly documented and then getting a top clearance job position? Well, you know, Elon actually kind of stepped up on this. Like when everything started going down, this was his response. He said SpaceX told was told repeatedly that hiring anyone who was not a permanent resident of the United States would violate international arms trafficking law, which would be a criminal offense. We couldn't even hire Canadian citizens, he says, despite Canada being part of NORAD. This is yet another case of weaponization of the DOJ for political purposes. That last sentence is why everyone on the left is going to, say he's a MAGA guy or he's a conspiracy theorist. But no, really, what is that, guys? Why would you want random foreign nationals coming into a company like that? Being a U.S. citizen, it has nothing to do with race or any kind of weird ideologies or anything of that nature. It has everything to do with national security. If you're a permanent U.S. citizen, then if anything happens, like information gets leaked or something gets stolen, it's much easier to track you. And on Elon's side, it makes it a lot easier to trust you as well. So I really don't understand the logic of going after Elon other than like what he says in the last sentence here, being another case of weaponization of the DOJ for political purposes. The left hates Elon now because he's turned Twitter into a free speech platform, and so now they want him taken down. They want their Twitter back to being completely censored. And I think this is just an avenue that they're using to do it. But we'll see how this unfolds. I'm sure he's got a good legal team that's going to end up swatting these accusations down. And I hope so, because national security is very, very important. We're already having a big enough problem with the open border with security. We don't need missile secrets and things like that going out the door, too. All right, 2 more stories. I'm going to wrap it up. We have information on BRICS, and hold on 1 second. I got to clean this page up. All these pop-ups, yay! I swear, it doesn't matter how much you spend on a pop-up looker. They will continue popping up. All right. So, what we have here, BRICS dropping US dollar, working on new reserve currency. That's very rough for us. The United States has become an economic powerhouse because of our trade. We're very consumer based here in the United States. Our capitalistic platform, we like to buy things. I guarantee you, most of the people watching this, you have a car, you have a home full of all kinds of stuff. The phone you're watching me on, or the computer you're watching me on, the TV you're watching me on, all these things, it's all consumer based. If our money is removed from the world stage, then our money becomes useless. And it requires more and more and more and more and more money to buy the same things. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not ready to buy a $100,000 TV that's only this big. We see it in other countries, which people call like third world countries and stuff like that, where their money is so devalued because nobody wants it. If our money is removed from the stage, who's going to trade with it? And so then we'll be stuck. As we keep raising the debt ceiling over and over and over again, we're going to be stuck holding all this cash in our lap and nowhere to send it. So in this article from the Epoch Times, the BRICS Economic Alliance plans to abandon the US dollar in trade settlements and develop a new reserve currency while promoting the use of local currencies. Brazil's president said at the bloc's 15th annual summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. Brazilian President Luiz Inacio, I'm horrible with names, by the way. Maybe it's just Southern me. But Luis Inacio Lula da Silva championed a medium to long-term objective of creating a new reserve currency to fight against the U.S. dollar hegemony. Until then, the coalition will encourage the further utilization of members' national currencies in bilateral trade. The creation of a currency for and this is a quote from the article, the creation of a currency for commercial transactions and investments between BRICS members increases our payment conditions and reduces our vulnerabilities, Mr. Lula stated. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to lift their dollars up where ours used to be. They're trying to create a new world currency and completely cut ours out. If you guys think the inflation that we're dealing with now is bad, if this does continue to build up steam, if it continues to build up momentum, inflation's going to get out of control. And it won't matter how high we push the debt ceiling, because people won't even have the ability to earn money. If our factories can only produce to ourselves and not sell on the national stage, there goes another hit to our dollar. If we can't get our money out there circulating, it becomes overabundant on our shores and we'll just be swimming in it. I mean, I've seen videos like out of Venezuela and a few other places where people have trash bags full of money. And they're like, oh yeah, when I break it all down, it's only worth like 100 USD. That's terrifying that we are on track. If these guys keep up this momentum, we are on track to having the exact same thing happen to our dollar. This is something that you need to keep an eye out. And here in the future, I'm going to be reporting as much on this BRICS movement as possible, because I think you, as a viewer, definitely need to know. Now, one last thing before I go, and I want to point this out, is I think this is chaotic. In the city of Chicago, and this is an article from the Washington Times, if my computer will keep up with me. There we go. The city of Chicago is suing Kia and Hyundai over lack of anti-theft devices. This is just another version of the gun debate here. All right? And why do I say that? Well, let me read into it and see if you can figure it out. Chicago is suing Kia and Hyundai, contending that a lack of immobilizers in the auto manufacturers' vehicles helped cause a spike in thefts. That's from the city officials, and that's what they said yesterday. The lawsuit, which also targets the company's U.S. branches, contends that other automakers made vehicle immobilizers which prevent the improper starting of a car engine, standard in their models years ago, and that the lack of such systems in Kia and Hyundai vehicles from 2011 to 2022 was a critical defect, violating city consumer protection laws. So essentially what you have here is the city of Chicago is blaming the car manufacturers for the behaviors of the people within their cities. That's the same as blaming gun manufacturers for the activities that people perform with their product. It's not their fault if somebody mishandles their product. You know, I'm not a huge Kia or Hyundai guy. I don't hate the vehicles. They're great starter cars, and I think a lot of people really enjoy them. They're decent value. You know, not everyone has a lot of money. To blame them, though, because people are going out there and stealing their cars is crazy. Like, that's not fair to them. They don't have to put this stuff in their vehicles. Other manufacturers chose to do that, and that's really cool that they put those immobilizers in their vehicles. But the way that Kia and Hyundai keep the costs down is they don't put this extra stuff in there. If you want all these extra accessories, these theft preventions and all that stuff put into a vehicle, then you have to expect to pay a higher price. But to keep it down, keep that price down to a level that people can actually afford, well, sometimes there's little things like this that are cut. Now, they're not going to cut safety features. That would be crazy. You know, they want to look out for their customers in that way. But, you know, to penalize these companies for this specific anti-theft feature, that's not right. You know, we need to look at this a different way. And honestly, maybe these car manufacturers need to come at the city of Chicago for not policing their streets well enough. You know, we see article after article after article that the local DAs in blue cities just like this are reducing sentences for car theft. Well, if I know I'm not going to go to jail for stealing a car, what's stopping me from stealing a car? There definitely, in my opinion, needs to be a strong countersuit on this. You know, like, how dare you call out the car companies for making it easy to steal a car when it's you yourself that's leading the charge on saying, hey, car theft is fine. You know, I've literally heard people say, you know, people steal to provide food. No, these are half the time teenagers going out there and just joyriding vehicles and stuff like that. Not hating on teens or anything like of the sort, but you know, I've seen the articles about the teen weekend or teen night or whatever it is, where people get together in mass groups and go out and create chaos. You know, no, it's not the car manufacturer's fault that somebody looked at that car and said, hey, I'm going to steal that car. No, that's the culture, that's the city, that's the parents. There's a million other reasons why that's happening, and it's not that car manufacturer's fault. The only thing that they're at fault for is making a car that's affordable and dependable so people can get to work. And now you're going to sit there and penalize them. That's chaos. Just straight chaos. And all this is going to do is end up removing more and more and more products from our shores. And we're going to have fewer and fewer and fewer options to choose from. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the price of, like, say, a Ford Expedition. You know, that's a six-figure truck now. Back in the day, that was like $30,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000 with all the trimmings truck. But vehicles have almost doubled, maybe almost tripled in cost recently. And so cars like this are very valuable. But we're just going to chase them away because instead of Chicago taking responsibility for their own lack of policing, their weakness in their court systems, they're just going to run away affordable options for people like you and me. That's gross. I can't stand behind it. But folks, that's about all I got for you guys today. You know, it's Friday. It's not the busiest news time. Nobody really drops anything big on Friday because there's normally not going to be a lot to be seen or talked about. Most shows take off for the weekend. I will be back Sunday because there's normally some stuff that drops, and so I like bringing that stuff to you, get you ready for your Monday. I try to do every other day, so next week's going to be my shorter week. You know, so if I'm doing Sunday, that means I'll be back on Tuesday, Thursday, then Saturday. And then the following week, it will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. With that being said, you know, the local spin down here, right this way, yep, this guy. Local Spin is currently doing some fundraising right now. We're trying to build the brand and try to bring more shows like this, maybe even some better ones than this. We're trying to bring more entertainment, more culture, more information to the scene. The Local Spin is really good about bringing Georgia local news and information to the scene. They've got Bill Edwards and Brittany Brown hosting that show. I think they bring a great newscast, and so you guys should definitely go over there, give them some love. If you've got it in your pocket, you know, throw them a little bit of a donation. I've actually got this show going up on Rumble now, and I'm going to have some donation links and things like that for this show as well. But right now, I think you can go over on my Rumble and donate there if you want to see this show grow and do better. So I really would appreciate both of that. If it's not in your pocket right now to do so, do us a big favor and take this show or take anything else that you see there on the local spin. Get Real America is their new show that they do over there. If you could take both of these shows and share them around with your friends, even if you're making fun of me, like, look at Drew, he's an idiot, get us out there, get us circulating, make sure at both of our shows you reach down there and give us a like, a share, let people know, man. Help us with the algorithm to start circulating around, and the more funding we can get in, the more eyes that we can get on the show, the more advertising dollars that we get, the more that we can improve things. Right now, I'm working with a visual design guy. It's going to be a little bit at a time. Hopefully he'll start delivering some of his products soon, and we can start zhuzhing up this show a little bit better, get it formatted a little bit better. But all of this stuff, it costs money. So, anything that you guys can help us out with, please do. And when we have more events coming up, I'll definitely let you know. Next week, I'm looking to be in studio. I was supposed to be in studio with the local spin last week. Unfortunately, some of y'all know I ended up in the hospital very unexpectedly with a really high fever. So it really kind of set me back a little bit there, and at least put me back a week. I go in, I have a meeting in the morning on Tuesday, so I'm going to talk to them about it. Hopefully we'll do something Tuesday night. If not, most likely it's going to be Thursday night I'll be in the studio, but like I said, regardless, I'll still be putting up episodes here. Look for us. I'm going to be getting my Discord going here very soon once we see a little bit more activity in the comments. I'll get that Discord set up so people can message with me live all day, every day. And then we'll have that Discord also rolling here on the show, because I don't want this to be a recorded show forever. I'm going to end up going live with it here very soon. So I want to get some activity in the chat and stuff like that. I want to hear what you guys think about these news articles. And if you guys know more than I do, I'm more than willing to hear what you guys got. I'm looking for more news articles, more information. I want to have some good long conversations and all this, and I'm really excited to do so. But yeah, we'll be up on Twitch as well. I'm looking very much forward to doing that. That's good. Once we go live on YouTube and Rumble, I'm going to also do live on Twitch, and then hopefully we'll be able to get Kick going. Kick, I'm waiting on some support return from them. Was in touch with them recently, had something mess up in the back end because I'm trying to use Restream, and keys and stuff aren't working properly. So I don't know what's going on with that. We'll get that ironed out here real soon. But thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for putting up with me this long. This is We Talk Freely. I am Drew Smith, and I will see you guys soon. Stay safe.